Okay, let's get started. People have had plenty of time to join. Seems like a quiet turnout today, but that's all right. So, let me get rid of this and we'll get started. So, I guess we'll start with the dollar. Seems only fitting. So, the US dollar actually, let me just put this onto candles here. US dollar did have a relatively poor performance last week. However, it wasn't anything detrimental. The technical analysis remains in place. The idea remains pretty robust as well. On the H4, we are creating a technical, roughly an uptrend here. We've got technically what is obviously a lower low, higher high, lower low, higher low here. Nothing overwhelming, nothing overly interesting. The weekly still looks completely fine. We've not broken any structural levels or any technical points to suggest that we are coming down further. We do have obviously news coming up this week, which we'll go into slightly later. But yeah, so far, dollar isn't really much of a concern in the medium term, but we could see some turbulence again, which we'll get into soon. So, moving on, let's get straight into the watch list. The US30, in fact, the indices markets in general are looking very, very attractive. So if we just look at the immediate top readings here on the Edge Finder, we've got the Nasdaq, we've got the Dow, we've got the Russell and the S&P 500. We also have China 50. I don't trade China 50, so I'm not going to pay attention to it. Same thing here with the Nikkei as well. So we'll just focus on these US markets for now. All looking very, very nice. We've got, oh, sorry, I moved off screen. Let me put it back for you. Retail positioning, for some reason, overly short on all of these markets. Seasonality is very bullish. Trend is currently bullish. Manufacturing PMIs, retail sales, CPI, everything is pretty much in favor, obviously, except GDP and PCE as well. Interest rates, not so much. However, we are looking at potentially having interest rate cuts in September. We'll move on to that again slightly later because Bank of America actually have a completely opposite idea. So I'm sure you guys have seen, but I've been putting some snippets into the US dollar focus, what's it called? The channel or the forum or whatever you want to call it. So just to quickly recap, Bank of America essentially are expecting no rate cuts this year at all. But again, we'll move on to that slightly later. So US30 is looking pretty strong, and I am looking to enter pretty much tomorrow, actually, with a very aggressive entry into the long side, expecting to have a break of the previous highs. Now, this isn't my normal style. I like to buy on pullbacks, not buying in anticipation of breakouts. The reason, though, that I'm looking at this is because if we just take a quick look at the other markets, so even the DAX, if we look at the UK 100, we look at Nasdaq, and we look at the S&P, what have they all done apart from the Dow? Well, they've all had full recoveries from the tariff drop, and they've all proceeded to create new all-time highs. The Dow is the only one that hasn't done that. So I'm looking to catch some sort of a catch-up game, if you will, on the Dow. See if we can break, again, it's aggressive, it's high risk, but I am willing to take that risk in this situation to see if we can catch the breakout to the upside, which would likely induce a new wave of buying into this market, which would be very, very nice to be involved with. Nasdaq, pretty much the same thing, although I'm waiting for a pullback here. So we're looking for the very, very typical breakout and then retest. We've had this breakout here, looking for a retest on these previous highs on the Nasdaq, and then we can start looking to go long. So yeah, very, very simple. So pound New Zealand is the next one. Now, if we just have another look here, you may notice something, a bit of a trend here on the Edge Finder. It doesn't take a genius. What do we see here? Well, the pound is very, very bearish. It's not looking good. So if we just take a quick look here at the economic heat map for the UK, we can see the underperformance has just been amazing, really. The GDP came out at negative 0.1. It was forecasted to be positive 0.1. So quite a large undershoot there on the GDP. Manufacturing PMIs came out relatively okay, but services PMIs, retail sales, CPI, PPI, unemployment rate, all very disappointing to the downside. So it's not looking great. So we definitely want to be short sellers on the pound at the moment, and we can see we do have pound CAD, pound Aussie, pound yen, pound dollar, pound Swiss, and pound New Zealand, all reading bearish. So I'm sure you can guess what my focus is this week. Well, is pound shorts. So pound New Zealand is one that I'm loving the look of. We've spoken about this, I think, for the past 2 weeks now. So I was looking to sell at this top, didn't manage to get in. That was my own fault. I know some of the members did, but yeah, personally didn't manage to get in. So I am looking for either a breakout of these lows or this support area, and then looking for the retest. So it would look something like this. So we break out, retest, enter at this point, and then look for continuation to the downside. Or on the other hand, we sort of just remain sideways. So we just remain in this consolidation. We look to sell this top and then continue to the downside, something like this. And that would give us an opportunity to sell at the top of the range. So even if this range does continue sideways, we would sit in profit for the majority of it. And then on this break and potential retest, we could look to scale in at this point and then add a position in. So pound New Zealand looks really attractive. It's just a case of waiting. It's just a patience game in this market now. Pound yen. Now, let me just pull something up here. I just want to make sure I've got this right before I speak about it. Okay. No, I don't. For some reason, I thought there was a bank trade on pound yen. I could have sworn there was. No, there's not. That's interesting. I must dreamt that up. Anyway, pound yen is looking great for a short position as well. So it's essentially continuing the same thing. Now, dollar yen is pretty much the same theory. However, with dollar yen, we do have Nomura research that's actually short. So I'm just going to pull up that bank report for you so you can see it. Just bear with me for a second. Now, remember, you do have access to these bank reports. We send them out every day. You should have access to this one as well. So we've got Nomura saying that they've raised conviction on dollar yen shorts. They already put this report out. Now they're just saying, or they publish a new report saying they're even more confident in this idea. So the levels that they're in, this is their exact trade here. And this does relate to pound yen. I've not completely gone off topic. But their theory behind this dollar yen idea is that with the trade tensions now pretty much done between the US and Japan, that's going to benefit the yen. We've also got the fact that tariffs have been a massive problem for central banks. So if you even look at the Fed, it's wait and see. We don't know what the long-term effects of tariffs are going to be, blah, blah, blah. European Central Bank, same thing. Same thing with the Bank of Japan, although Japan does have very poor economics, but we'll overlook that just for this moment. So with that tariff resolution, we are looking at a potential gain back into the yen upside. We've also got the other factor that the yen long trade became very crowded. Obviously, dollar yen had a massive sell-off and it's just been struggling to catch a substantial bid for a while. And the same thing really with a lot of yen pairs. So with the crowded yen trade now coming to an end, and it seems like it's less crowded, that does give us an opportunity to jump back in, and that's exactly what Nomura has said as well. So we just relate the same idea over here to pound yen, and obviously we do have that, sorry, I'm getting my words mixed up. We do have the edge finder confluence here as well, which is a really nice supportive factor for this pound yen short potential idea. Technically speaking, it's at a great point for us to go shorts, because obviously we've got these previous highs here, acting as a nice little resistance, and we've got quite a nice sort of daily range here. I mean, you know, it really depends where you want to draw this from, but either way, we could see some nice potential downside here on pound yen to come. Pound CAD is exactly the same situation. I'm not overly interested really in pound CAD. It's the least strong bearish reading on the edge finder, and the Canadian dollar isn't something I really trade anyway. It's just not in my bag of tricks, if you will. Pound CAD, I've got my eyes on it. I would suggest you should as well, but it's definitely not the main point of concern for me right now. Pound Swiss, however, does seem like a very good short position as well, with the edge finder giving it a negative 11 score over here. So just to quickly go over some of the points on why the pound is struggling so much. So I've got my notes here, so I'm just going to read from notes. So it might sound a little bit robotic. So consumer sentiment is deteriorating. Just to quote, or just to reference some bank reports, we've got ING and HSBC both highlight how UK consumers are shifting into saving mode. Spending is lagging while precautionary saving is rising. This is a classic early warning sign of a slowdown. So for those of you who don't know really what that means, if we have citizens, let's just say citizens, spending less money and they're keeping money in savings accounts, they're in cash or whatever it may be, the economy is not getting stimulated. There is less money in the economy, less money to support businesses, less money flowing. It's not good. That's not what we want. We want people to be proactive. We want them to be stimulating the economy, spending money. So yeah, that's not great. Market already priced in the Bank of England's dovish pivot, so that's already been a drag on the pound. The UK gilts are underperforming. We've got the risk sentiment isn't helping, so of course we've got a risk on sentiment. Well, sorry, we were actually risk off sentiment, and now we're shifting back to risk on. So it's not a huge deal right now, but the pound just isn't really benefiting either way from either risk side right now. So yeah, the pound definitely isn't something I'd want to be long on too much, but I am still short on euro pound, which I'll go into shortly. Pound Aussie. So pound Aussie also seems like a really, really nice breakout trade. So we have broken out of these lows, just about, almost broken out of these lows. So just as we already spoke about, we'd be looking, I think it's similar to pound New Zealand actually, we could actually pretty much get the same type of entry. So either we look for this breakout and then look to sell into the momentum, or if we do see this range bound price action continue, we look to sell the top of this range and essentially just hold. If we are sat in consolidation, that's fine, it'll be profitable consolidation, or we do expect this break to the downside. Either way, we should be pretty much primed for more downside on that one. Dollar yen, we've gone full circle, now we're back to dollar yen. So dollar yen, we are hitting this 200 daily moving average. We're at pretty much at the previous highs here as well. So all we really need to do is look to execute short, trail stops, take profit, have no take profit, and just trail the stop loss down. I think we could get some massive runner on the dollar yen over the long term. So if we manage to get positioned in a way that we can hold dollar yen for 6 months, 1 year, 1.5 years, I know it's a long time horizon. However, we would be very, very well off if we could do something like that, because essentially what we saw in dollar yen was what we call a carry trade. So what that did was it paid people to just hold dollar yen long positions. And when I say it paid, it wasn't typical swaps where you might get a little bit of money. It was good swaps, because we had the Bank of Japan with negative interest rates. We had the Fed with relatively high rates, especially compared to negative rates. So what you got paid for holding dollar yen longs was incredible at the time. So we've still got people holding these long positions, still getting paid. If we start seeing the Bank of Japan hiking rates even further, and we have the Fed looking to cut rates either in September or at the start of 2026, whenever it may be, we might start seeing, or very, very likely will, start seeing an unwind of those carry trades and potentially start piling into the opposite way of shorts. So I really think dollar yen is going to be a massive play. It's just a case of being able to execute it properly. G says he's been shorting pound New Zealand since 2.26. Let's have a quick look at 2.26. 2.2. Oh, right, that's all the way up here, isn't it? Yeah, really nice. Somewhere around here. Really good. Yeah, I think it's pretty mind numbing at the moment in terms of we just need to short the pound essentially. And if you are very confident in the dollar, we could even look for dollar longs, which brings me to this. This really annoyed me. So for anyone that may have joined the Discord relatively recently over the past couple of days, or people are watching on YouTube or whatever it may be, I did send this out last week on the 22nd of July. You can see up here, and we had a sell limit. Now, I'm not going to go into all the reasons and things, but we do have quite a nice seasonality. And I think this is from the 26th or 27th of July. Historically, over the past 5, 10, and 15 years, we typically see pound dollar start to sell off into the end of the year. So just from, and again, that's not accounting for the fundamentals behind the weak pound and strong dollar. That's just seasonality. It seems like we could catch something very, very nice here. So our sell limit was right here, and we missed it barely. So I'm a little bit annoyed. So I'm going to leave this sell limit in place for anyone that's wondering. We're not going to remove it just yet. However, if we do start to see price breaking these lows here, I will be looking to short something like this. So I'll be looking to short on the breakout. And then if for whatever reason, maybe we get a weak NFP, or again, whatever it may be, if we get taken out of this position, we'll get tagged into this one, and then we can start our short positions again. Because we might get taken out in short-term noise. However, long-term idea is still very bearish. So I'm happy to take 1 or 2 losses trying to catch the move. That's just part of trading sometimes. Not pound yen, euro pound. So this, again, this wasn't a signal. I wanted to be very, very clear about that. It's not in the signal room. It was just in the analysis, and it was, I'm personally selling this. This was my personal trade. It's not worked out as I thought it would. So it's coming up to the mental stop, which this will be roughly a 2% loss at this point, which is completely fine. So that's really pretty much what I planned. It was 1.5 to a 2% loss. So that's what I allocated for this trade. So the idea was a mean reversion. So if we look historically at the way that euro pound moves, it very often has aggressive spikes to the upside and then very, very slow drag to the downside, but the downside often, or pretty much all the time actually, outpaces where it originally was. So you can see these were the lows here, then we had an aggressive upside, and then we trail down here, aggressive upside, and then we trail down further, upside, trail down further. And that's essentially what I was expecting on this move here, although it's not happened. So one of those things, no big deal, not really a huge loss at all. We are still in our New Zealand yen position. This has actually disappeared off the edge finder now. It's no longer a really bullish reading. It was actually one of the top readings on the edge finder at one point. However, New Zealand yen, I personally am actually very, very happy to continue to hold. Although throughout this webinar, you may have taken away the idea that I am very bullish on the yen. That's not really the case, because we do still need to see the Bank of Japan actually signal that they want to hike rates. So until we have that, the yen is still bearish in my view. So what I'm looking to do is scale into this position. If we can break these highs, so if we come up again, look for this retest, then I'll be looking to enter again. Pretty much what we saw here, where we broke, we retested, and then go higher. I'm looking for exactly the same setup here. And of course, if we do start getting the signals that the Bank of Japan does want to hike rates, I'll look to take profits on New Zealand yen, and I'll be looking to execute dollar yen shorts and pound yen shorts. I think dollar yen shorts I may take tomorrow or Tuesday. I'll be taking these quite aggressively, I think. However, pound yen, maybe I want to wait a little bit, because I don't want to be long yen, short yen, then long yen again, and blah, blah, blah. It's not my style. I like to just have a clean idea, take that idea, and that's it. So I'm not looking to get overly complicated within the sort of hedging and taking both sides of one asset and things. So that's pretty much it from my watch list this week. It's very, very short, but of course it's pretty much just short pound, potentially buy yen, and of course then buy the US indices markets. Sorry, I can't read your full name. I've got streamer mode on, so I can only see the first one letter. I'm so pissed in this trade, GBP USD. I know it was very frustrating. I checked it on Friday because I was away last week at a wedding, and I was like, you know what? I did see the pound dollar was having a run to the upside at this point, and I was like, yes. Now maybe we're going to get triggered in. I can have a nice happy weekend knowing that we're in a pound dollar short. Unfortunately, yeah, not great. Although, it's one of those moments where you're like, my idea was right, and that's really what counts. Although my entry wasn't there, the idea was on point, and that's one of the big things in trading. So guys, if there is any questions, let me know. If not, then we'll just call it a day here. Like I said, I know it's been quite short, but there isn't really anything else on my list this week. You're waiting for the 0.382 retracement. Yeah, it's unfortunate. It's one of those things. We will get it. We will catch pound dollar at some point. It might just be a bit of a waiting game. So just to quickly go over the news for this week, just so you don't forget, we do have big Friday. Obviously, we've got the NFP, average hourly earnings, and we also have, we should have jobless claims or unemployment claims as well. I'm not sure, it's not showing here. ISM manufacturing as well. So Friday is going to be busy for the dollar. Wednesday, we've got ADP. I'll be honest, no one really cares about ADP anymore. GDP annualized for the US. Fed rate decision on Wednesday as well. So obviously we need to keep our eyes out on that. So just to quickly note before everyone leaves, the Fed rate decision, we don't care about the decision. It's pretty much, I don't want to say it's expected, but or guaranteed, but it kind of is. We're not going to see a rate cut on Wednesday. But what we really need to pay attention to is what's said. So what does Powell say and how does he say it? Is he happy with the labor market? Is he happy with inflation or not? And that will start giving us guidance towards what can we expect for September. If he remains data dependent, then of course that will lead into Friday's news and say, okay, well, how is the labor market now? And then obviously as we get into August, we can start looking at more inflation data and things. So of course, I'll cover all of this with you when the time comes, but I just want you to be aware that the actual rate decision is not a huge deal, to be quite honest with you. It's again, it's the forward guidance we get after that. Then on Thursday, exactly the same thing. We do have the Bank of Japan interest rate decision, but again, we are expecting them to hold. So the real focus on this is what does the Bank of Japan say afterwards? What is the forward guidance? And then how can we start trading around that and what can we expect? From that, that's kind of it. We do have some Euro news as well on Friday, but nothing overly interesting. We have GDP. Retail sales for Germany as well on Wednesday and GDP for Germany as well. Okay, so Monday, Tuesday will be very boring. Wednesday will be a little bit more interesting. Thursday will be quite boring because obviously if we're European based, which I assume you are, we'll probably be asleep for this. And then Friday will, of course, be interesting as well. So that's kind of it. So just to finally end this webinar, if we do get NFP to come out strong, of course, we can expect the dollar to start coming up higher as we do see some of those short positions get unwound even further. However, if NFP comes out weak, the dollar may be ready to start having some sort of downside. It may come down towards 94.5 to 95, 96 area roughly. And then maybe we might start grinding higher. However, the market will not like the idea of a weak NFP because obviously we've had such a sell-off. There's been a huge deal about the dollar's going to collapse, the dollar's weak, de-dollarization, blah blah blah. Then we had good numbers which helped support here. So it's now a case of what happens on Friday is going to be the big teller on where the dollar will be next. Okay guys, that's it. Again, if you've got any final questions, let me know very quickly before I end the stream. Actually, just while I give you a second, these are the current open bank trades. So if you want to screenshot that, of course, I will send this tomorrow morning with the daily analysis as I always do. And here are the Edge Finder top setup. So again, if you want to screenshot that, feel free to. I'm just trying to think if there's any last things. I don't think there is. Here are the central bank rates as well. I forgot to show you that. So these are current rates and expectations. But yeah, that's it. Guys, have a good one. I'll speak to you all very, very soon. Thank you for joining, and I hope you all enjoyed your weekends.